I realize I've been talking a lot about beta readers lately. My beta readers are about finished with their assessment of the book. And it's a good thing because I have a deadline. Pretty much I need to have it all ready to go. I have to get all the feedback and have it incorporated or not incorporated. And we'll say on or before May 15th. So I've got just over 2 weeks here. And then I'm going to order my proof copy. I'll have to upload the manuscript, then order the proof copy. The proof copy comes in about a week. Then I have to go through the proof copy, do any corrections that are needed, and then hit publish. So, let me fix this video thing. Hang on a minute. Okay, it's better. So anyway, the beta reading assessments and all their corrections and suggestions are about in now. And so we're ready to go. But what is a beta reader? Most people on AuthorTube know what a beta reader is. However, for the people who maybe have come from my homesteading channel and haven't seen much of my video, they're just coming over because it's me over here. Here, let me tell you what a beta reader is. A beta reader is a volunteer. It can be a hired reader because there are places where you can actually hire people to beta read your book for you. But these are my first beta readers, even though it's not my first book, and I would prefer to have people that I have some level of trust with, and so that's who I've chosen from. Most of them are subscribers, a couple are friends also. Well, they're all friends now, but they are people that I kind of have a level of trust with. So, oh my gosh, my battery's going dead. So, as I was saying, my beta readers have come from a pool of people that I have had sort of a relationship, even if it's just online, for a while, and I kind of have a feel for who they are and what they think about certain topics. So, I know my beta readers. But they can be hired, they can be volunteer. I think most of them end up being volunteers anyway. Then they review a nearly finished manuscript. It would probably be the draft at least is finished, and it has already had a certain amount of editing from you. And they're there to provide honest, high-level feedback on the plot, the character development, the pacing from the perspective of a typical reader. They act kind of like as a say civilian audience member. They catch, to catch major story problems before publication, but they're not professional editors and proofreaders. And so, beta readers like a test reader. It's a member of your target audience to see if the book is working overall. They are a source of hopefully unbiased, honest feedback. They may comment on pacing and the plot holes, engagement, how they feel while they're reading it. So it's an early reader. And they give basically subjective, I said unbiased, but I mean they don't have an agenda, they just want to help. Subjective reader-based reactions, not professional technical feedback. But here's what a beta reader is not. A beta reader is not an editor or a proofreader. They're not responsible for fixing grammar, punctuation, or structural mechanics. I realize that when you're reading and you see something, you go, oh my gosh, you didn't finish the sentence, or there's two words in a row. Of course they want to tell you what that is, and they will. That's not technically what a beta reader is. They're acting as more than a beta reader when they do that. But they're not responsible for fixing grammar and punctuation and the mechanics of everything structural, the sentence structure and all that. They're not for that. They're not a critique partner. A critique partner is someone who exchanges work with you. Like my friend Rachel, say she reads mine and I read hers. And we provide feedback, without necessarily being writers, but you do something for her and she does something for you and that kind of thing. That's a critique partner. They're not alpha readers. Alpha reader is a whole other thing. Alpha reader is basically before beta readers. Alpha reader might be somebody who brainstorms with you, who may read the first chapter, say I send the first chapter, say, can you read this first chapter? I haven't gotten anywhere else. I want you to tell me if I'm on track, if this feels good, if I should continue or should change my direction. That's an alpha reader. They can get maybe a manuscript you haven't even edited at all yet, and maybe just even a chapter, And they can be they're the first people to read this raw, unpolished work that you've done. Or in the in progress manuscript, either one. And sometimes they will review it chapter by chapter. You send them one chapter at a time. Okay, how's this feel? Okay, good. Well, here's chapter 2. How about this direction? Do you feel the direction it's going? That kind of thing. Just kind of a brainstorming partner. And they'll tell you about the plot holes and all that kind of stuff, but they're not for grammar or that kind of stuff. What a beta reader is an authoritative figure. Somebody who can suggest changes, but the author is not required to implement them. They don't tell you, this is what you need to do. You must do this. Of course, I don't think very many of them would think of even doing such a thing, honestly. But you know whose name's on the book? The authors, not the beta reader, not the editor, another critique partner, not the alpha reader, not your grandmother. It's your name on the book. So let's switch gears, and in addition to those basic things of what a beta reader is and what it isn't, let me tell you what I would like in a beta reader. What I look for in a beta reader, and this is just me, but I think a lot of them look for the same thing, a lot of authors look for the same thing. First thing I want is somebody who loves to read, who pretty much is an avid reader or has been an avid reader. Someone who appreciates the genre I'm writing in. I don't want a beta reader to say to me, there's no spice in this book. We're talking about romantic spice. I mean spice, you know what I'm saying? If that is the case, they don't appreciate the genre that I'm writing in. This is not their genre. Not every book is for everybody. And if I can have somebody on who just loves to read, but they only love to read science fiction. And they'll say, I'll be a beta reader for your book. And I'm likely to say, well, it's not your genre. I mean, I'm not sure that would be a good fit for me. And hopefully they don't get their feelings hurt, because that's the simple truth of it, is somebody who's interested in only dystopian fiction is not going to love my book. If somebody who only loves Hallmark Channel sugary, sweet cotton candy stories is also not going to love my book. So hopefully somebody who appreciates my genre. Someone who helps. I want someone who's going to help improve my book, not just get a copy before it's published and forget what they volunteered for. You know what I'm saying? And that happens sometimes. I want to be a beta reader. I want to, and then they never really give you anything constructive. Or they might say something like, I liked it okay. Because they just wanted to read a book that wasn't on the market. We don't want that. I would like somebody who can meet a reasonable deadline. I know not everyone reads as quickly as I do. However, this cannot take forever to complete and get published. So I have a reasonable amount of time that I feel is adequate to read the book and offer constructive feedback. Because this is a business. This is something that I would like to get done. This, technically, in the end, is a business. And it's not just some loosey-goosey hobby. If you have a loosey-goosey hobby, you don't need a beta reader. You just don't. And I want someone who will give actionable feedback. That if I look at it, I can say, yes, they have a point, I will fix that, or no, I won't. Or they don't understand where I'm going with this, therefore it's going to stay the way it is. Somebody who's going to give actionable feedback. What I mean is, and here's some common things. Somebody say, I just felt that there were parts of it were too slow. Okay, which parts? Specifically which parts? I can't fix something if I don't know what you're talking about. Which parts did you feel were too slow? I read it. If they give me a specific, it's in this chapter, it's on this page, I can read that and go, I don't see that it's that slow. I don't see it slow. I mean, everybody's life is not an action movie like some crazy Fast and Furious movie. Not every book is like that. Yes, it might keep your attention, but life is not like that. And I kind of write about life in general, more like a real life in real families. Maybe not your family. It might not be your family, but it's a family. And, you know, or if somebody says, well, I just got confused about who was speaking in some places. Okay, please tell me which places you're talking about so I can see what to do about it. See, you can't just say, I liked it, it was great. And that's not a beta reader. I don't know what that is, but it's just a reader who's trying to leave a quickie review. I need actionable feedback, meaning I need to know where the problem is that you've perceived so I can go and review it myself and either do something about it or say, no, I don't think so. I think it's just like it should be. Also, now I know this particular one's a little harder to judge until you already have experience with that person as a beta reader. And this is really hard to know ahead of time when you assign your beta readers. Someone who understands that even though he or she may have written the story a little differently, or they may have written the story going a different direction than I did, or any author, this is not me, this is just general things, but me specifically, I want someone to know, they realize that even though I might have taken a right turn right here when you might have taken a left, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you to assess the turns I did take in relation to the entire story, the plot, and the characters and the development, and just realize it may not be the book you wrote, would have written in my place, but it's the book that I wrote, and I just need feedback on that book, not the book that you would have written. I heard a story this morning. It was a Reddit story, and that's where a lot of people get their fodder for the mill for YouTube, is going to Reddit threads, where this young woman had written a story. She'd written a book, and beforehand she'd actually discussed plots and things like that, characters and stuff with her mother previously. Apparently her dad's a little bit of a curmudgeon, maybe is a nice way to put it. But at the end, she got it finished, and she was so proud of it. And she wanted to show her dad. So she showed her dad. Guess what his response was? I spent the last 8 hours rewriting your first chapter. What? Who gave you permission to rewrite anything? This is my book. I'm just showing you what I accomplished. If you want to write a book, you write your book. Don't you butcher mine. I mean, I couldn't even believe that. Now, we get to a whole other thing about parents appreciating their children's accomplishments, but anyway, so that's that. So that's what I wanted to tell you about that, the beta reader issue. What it is, what it isn't, what I prefer in my own beta readers. And I may be looking for new beta readers someday. I may want more than just the few that I have. Who knows? I don't know. Remains to be seen. So, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.